I might get in trouble for this, but I'm about to prove to you that Japan is one of the most conflicted countries in the world. How come the Japanese are known for their politeness and discipline? Like this one time they went viral for cleaning up during the World Cup.
Japanese never leave rubbish behind us.
But you'll also hear of creepy Japanese men like this who show total disrespect for women in public.
Oh my god, he's just staring at us!
How can Japan possibly be one of the world's safest countries while openly tolerating the Yakuza? Japan's own version of the mafia, while also having produced Asia's highest number of serial killers, like Issei Sagawa, who killed and ate a woman in France and then somehow became a celebrity when he came back to Japan.
But if you just bite off a small part of me, would that satisfy you? It would.
How did it happen that the same nation that gave us the colorful world of anime, cute cosplay and the quirkiest game shows, unfortunately also deals with one of the highest suicide rates in the world? Where it's so tragically widespread, they even have a so-called suicide forest. And finally, just how weird it is that Japan has its own censored porn called hentai, while also being so innocent that men pay just to get hags like this.
Another $13 for a 5-second hug.
I think I made my point clear that Japan is very confusing, so let us answer why. How can all these contradictions possibly exist in the same country? Knife fun? Let us find the answers as we're exposing the two faces of Japan. Let's start with this face. The world-class anime, the kawaii style, the quirky game shows. Seeing all of this, you really wonder, where does the dark side come from? Well, as we dug deeper, we realized that there are a few reasons why Japan is so uniquely conflicted. For starters, all this craziness is their way to escape the reality.
I think there's a demand for the things people are avoiding.
Because in Japan, often you'll be frowned upon for standing out and going against a group.
Yeah, if you talk a little loudly, they will call the police.
Unlike in places like America, where individuality is encouraged, what Japan values most is fitting in. It's exactly why you'll see these Japanese kids being taught such strict discipline at a young age. And when they get older, those values just stick with them. And there you have it, a society admired by the world for their incredible punctuality, honesty, and politeness. But here's where the two faces of Japan start to merge. Because those same values that made the Japanese people so respected by the whole world, they happen to be the very root cause of their darkest problems too. For instance, Japanese people often say things to be polite, but if they understood our mentality, then they'd know we don't mean it. For example, what we see right here is an intense Japanese hiring ritual called Shushoku Katsudo, where thousands of fresh university graduates all wear the same black suits to go through group interviews. And by the end of this, big companies will hire a lot of people who made the cut. A nice show of the Japanese value of discipline, right? But here's the catch. This mostly happens only once a year. If you get hired, you'll most likely get to keep your job for decades and then keep working there until you retire. And soon these Japanese workers will realize that the only way to get promoted is if they overwork themselves to the limits.
Japanese companies is very like, if you're young, you're kind of unimportant.
They expect you to stay overtime, so a lot of the times like work-life balance is terrible.
In fact, it's so common that there is a Japanese word for it. Karoshi or death by overwork.
And every time we hung out in Shibuya, my friends always saying, "Oh, my boss is still there." Even it's Sunday, 11 p.m. If you look at the behind, if you see the dark side of Japan, it can be so stressful. That's why the rate in Japan it's really, really high.
Now, what happens to those who fail to get hired? Well, this night fam is exactly what devastated a whole generation in Japan. And years later, because of their strict rules, many of those who failed to get hired still spend the rest of their lives in shame, either surviving on part-time, low-paid jobs or totally isolating from society.
I didn't think much about it. I just wanted to be away from my parents.
They are called the hikikomori, lonely, loveless and depressed, and they make up to 15% of the country. From overworking so they get the respect they need, to isolating when they're not as honorable as Japanese society expects them to be. You lose all desires when you shut yourself in. These were the likely reasons why over 20,000 Japanese people take their own lives every single year.
His legs were here and his head there. He must have had a fall.
And this depressing truth is so common around here that they even have a so-called side forest. But in the darkest extremes of this situation, Night Fam, could all these pent-up emotions, pressure and incredibly high expectations from society also be why their most psychologically unwell men end up becoming the world's most twisted serial killers? Because Japan might have the most polite people, but they also have Issei Segawa, who right now is likely still alive and free in Japan. Even after killing a woman in France, eating her corpse, and after coming back to Japan, becoming a celebrity for that exact crime. Or Tsutomu Miyazaki, a man so consumed by dark Japanese mangas, anime, horror films and adult content that he murdered little girls and did unimaginable things to their bodies, putting Japan on the map as the place with the most twisted serial killers in the world, right next to America. It's heartbreaking to know that around 70% of Japanese suicides are by men. It really makes me wonder how much of society's expectations of males push them to either take their own lives or take another. Now, remember how I told you that Japan is one of the safest countries in the world? It's true. Well, this very safe country is also a safe haven for Japan's infamous organized crime syndicate.
Yeah, this is easily the sketchiest place I've ever walked through in Japan.
Almost like the mafia in Italy, the Yakuza criminal gangs operate businesses all over the country, from restaurants, bars, taxi fleets to trucking companies. And here's what's crazy. Everyone knows they exist. Even the government, even the police. And yet, because the Yakuza supposedly operate with a strict internal code of honor, Japanese society pretty much just accepts them as long as they don't disrupt public order. As always, harmony comes first. And by the way, if you enjoy watching our videos, 69% of our viewers are not following Project Nightfall, so please go and follow right now to help us hit 20 million by the end of the year. Now back to this video. And finally, I'm sure you've also heard about Japan's quirky and high-tech inventions, from plushies and robots trying to cure loneliness, or even actual humans they can now rent for those who just badly need connection.
I enjoy seeing my rental sister very much. We go out to eat and then go out together.
I never had a lot of chances to meet girls, so this is refreshing for me.
But let's be honest, no matter how clever these solutions get, nothing will match authentic human emotions. Do you see it now, Nightfam? It's very possible that Japan might be the most contradicting country in the world. These contradicting values continue to put the Japanese people in an impossible situation. And it's truly heartbreaking to witness these cultural norms continuing to make many people's lives miserable. And please don't get me wrong, like I really mean it. I don't want to mock the Japanese people. It's the opposite. I actually love Japan. It's one of my favorite countries when it comes to the bright side. In fact, I think the Japanese are genuinely lovely people. If everyone was raised to be like this, we'd be in a true mega era of world peace. And it goes without saying, the dark sides we showed here do not apply to everyone by any means. But if there's anything I've learned from investigating the two faces of Japan, it's surprisingly the value of self-love. A lesson that your established way of life can easily become your nightmare if you only do it to be accepted by others while never fully accepting yourself.